Hello everyone, I am Gunjan. Welcome to Members Unplugged. Unplugged with an N because we are Division N. Here at Members Unplugged, we don't talk about Toastmasters. We talk about the members who are Toastmasters of Division N. We get to know them better as a person, who they are, what are the achievements, what all challenges they have came through in their lives and achieved what they are today. And today, as a guest, we have our own Division Director of Division N, Distinguished Toastmaster Mayuri Assudani. She has been a French teacher since 1995 and has achieved a lot in her life in the field of French and also as a Toastmaster. She has been past area director of area H4, past district chief judge, and so on. But as we said that here we are not talking about Toastmasters. Here we are talking to Miss Mayuri Assudani as a person. Welcome, Mayuri ma'am, to Members Unplugged.
Thank
How
you
are you?
so much. Thank you so much, Gunjan. It's a pleasure to be here. This is home ground for me, Division N. So I'm so looking forward to sitting and chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, ma'am. So, as a person, I know you since 2018, and I know so much about what all you have achieved as a Toastmaster in your Toastmaster journey. But very few people know you who are close to you knows you that you have achieved a tremendous amount of milestones, or you can say you have flags there. You have feather in your hat in your friend journey. So I would like to know more about how this French thing started in your life. I mean, it's been more than 25 years you are teaching French.
Yes.
And obviously, humans have that tendency that they do the same work till 10 years, max to max 15 years, and there is a lack of motivation. The motivation goes down, down, down. But what is that one thing that keeps you up? That also I would like to know. How it all started and how it's still going so strong.
All right. Great. So let me take you back to when I was in my master's. I was doing my master's and I was staying in Bhopal in those days. And I was staying in a hostel because my parents were posted in a very small town and there was a very good education at the university level. That's why I opted to do my master's in genetics and I was in Bhopal. Now I had time on my hand. That is in the evening. Of course, during the morning hours, I was at the university, but in the evening, I had time on my hands. So that is the time when I decided to learn something new. Those days, we didn't have internet. Actually, learning computers was something that there were courses to actually go and learn computers. But somehow the timings clashed with my university classes, so I dropped the idea of learning computers. And a distant cousin came forward and said, there is an institute, they teach foreign languages, why don't you go and try? I said, okay. And I went to this institute and I said, I have time on my hand. And that's the only reason why I want to learn. There is no plan as such to learn French and make it a career because I was already doing my master's. And I had all intentions of doing a PhD and moving into cloning and human genetics. I was totally into that. And then I wanted to just use my time constructively. And that's how I ended up at this institute in Bhopal. And I just asked the lady at the reception that I need to learn something. I mean, I've come here to learn French, but I stay in a hostel and we have rules. We cannot stay outside till after 9 p.m. And she said something. She said, if you really want to do something in life, you'll find the way to do it. And I said, yes, that's true. So I said, okay, I'm enrolling myself. And I've never looked back since. The first class, the first day that I attended a French class, I fell in love with the language. And since then, I have just not looked back. Within 2 years, so I was doing my master's also. 2 years of master's and 2 years of French, and I balanced both of them. Something that my dad had also said to keep a balance between both subjects. And I realized that I was able to manage both. And I continue to love speaking French. And that is when the director of the institute asked me, would you like to start teaching? So initially I was scared. I said, how can I teach? But then he said, you know French and they don't. That's why you are the teacher and they are the learners. And I remember this so strongly because it really gave me the courage to go ahead despite being hardly 22 at that time, 23 at that time. And so I started teaching. My first batch was a very mixed batch from young people as young as 13, 14 to a 40-year-old lady. but I thoroughly enjoyed that batch. And since then, I've not looked back. So I think to answer the second part of your question, I have this passion for the language, this passion to learn and talk. And it's more about the language, teaching the language that I just absolutely adore. Probably not as much about the country or its traditions or its history, but the language. It's a very beautiful language, and I love to speak in the language, and I love to teach the language. So when you have a passion, you just keep on going. And that has kept me going for the last 26 years, I guess. Yeah, 26, 27 years now.
Fantastic. So talking to you, as I am also an artist, I also follow. I'm starting something with out of my passion, turning into profession. So I really wanted to ask you that it's life. Sometimes there are high points, sometimes there are low points.
True.
Sometimes I also feel when I don't have a good day, I have a bad day. I have bad days sometimes, you can say. So there is a lack of motivation. Like you feel like I I am not in a mood actually to do what I love right now. So how do you handle that situation in your life?
I think, Gunjan, the passion that I have for life and the passion that I have for teaching French, and now the passion that I have for Toastmasters is something that keeps me going all the time. Even when I have low days when I'm not really in my best moods, the minute I start teaching, even if it's one student or if it's a batch of 15, 20, even I've had a maximum batch of 29 students in a real classroom, and it was immense fun. 29 of them, I think that memory is really very strong in my still in my mind. But it's again the passion. Even if I'm low, the minute I start teaching, it just fades away. I just fall into this beautiful language and I talk and talk. And trust me, in my classes, we talk about a lot, not only the curriculum and the book. We discuss life, we discuss problems, we discuss each other, students and my background, etc., but all in French. That is the ground rule. Everyone, whoever it is, has to speak in French. Broken French, maybe there are errors, but I think that's where the joy comes in. We just talk, and it's a language. A language is meant to communicate, right? So I really enjoyed that. And there have been rarely, I don't think there have been many moments where I felt, very low and continue to feel low. The minute I'm into French, I just pep up like that.
Yes, correctly. Sometimes your passion is so strong that it acts like a meditation in itself.
Absolutely. Very well said. Exactly.
Correct. So yes, moving ahead, I really, because this particular video has been watched by many students also who are willing to learn French, and including me also. I don't know where to start, matlab, how to start learning French. As in, we know that there is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. There are such levels where you reach at a certain level, then you are qualified as like you can speak or you can. You have given certain exam and you are certified French speaker or something. Please elaborate. Can you please elaborate that part for us?
All right. So for French language, we have the French Ministry of Education, which has a set of centers in India where we teach the language and we conduct exams as well. So for a long time, I was associated with the network while I started in Bhopal and then later when I moved to Indore. But ever since I moved to Nagpur, I am on my own. But I do guide and teach my students to ultimately write the exams which are conducted by these centers. So we have exams that come from France. So everything is ultimately related to the French Ministry of Education, and the certificate that comes also comes from there. Now, if anybody wishes to start learning the language, to answer your question, when do we start? The time is now. It's up to the learner to decide when is the right time to begin. And I feel the time is now. So it's up to us to find out where and how can I find the time to learn a foreign language. I also encourage everybody to learn at least one foreign language to begin with. Any European language is good. I love French because then I find it easy to converse in. But any foreign language, a must. And if you have, for example, one European language and you also learn one Oriental language, let's say maybe Japanese, Chinese, Korean, something, and you already speak English, then look at your job prospects. You're already capable enough to work in any part of the world. and you have a lot of job opportunities happening immediately because the language can give you that access. So when do you want to learn? Well, the time is now. How do you start learning? Well, find a institute or a tutor close to you and just start. Now coming to time, well, we all have the same number of 24 hours. If I really want to do something, I'll figure out morning or afternoon or evening, I'll find the time to learn. But we do need a guide, a tutor, a teacher in the initial levels. Like you said, there are levels. Yes, there are 6 levels that I teach, but you do need someone to help you with the first, second level. There are translating tools. You have Duolingo app, you have Google Translator. They will give you word to word translations. But to learn a language and how it is structured and how it is phrased and the emotion that comes when you speak, and French people speak a lot with not just the words, but with their voice intonations, with their body, with their hands, the whole body talks actually. So
Right.
this will come only when you actually learn with a teacher. It wouldn't come with apps. So in the initial phases, yes, at least till 3 levels, 4 levels, I would say, please study with a tutor, with a teacher. After that, you would have had enough base to continue higher levels on your own. But till there, you need someone, which means you need to really find out time and you need to religiously stick to it in a very disciplined manner. But at the end of that course is a whole world of opportunities waiting for you and in a number of fields as well.
Correct. The time is now.
Absolutely.
Right. So this thought just popped up in my head right now that you have immense passion with French language, immense passion with Toastmasters. What if Toastmasters and French are combined?
That's my
Have you
next
ever thought
project.
about
Of
it?
course, Gunjan, that is my next project. I just need to figure out a. I'm just waiting for the contest season to, abate a little bit because we are right in the middle of that. But I will definitely do something and combine both my passions. It's already in my head. I just need to put it into action. So yes, we will see something happening, and that would be ultimate for me, right? Both my passions together.
We are also eager to see the same.
Yes, I would.
Yes, and I remember talking to you. You said that you have love for traveling as well, and you have visited the city of romance, Paris as well. Being such a passionate French teacher, how was the experience? And I would like to know more about your traveling diaries.
All right. So the first time I went to Paris was very interesting. This was 2008. And I went with a group of teachers from India. So we were all together. It was like a big school trip excursion, something like that. Everything is already arranged for. That's when I went. Now, when we went, and I reached, there was another city where we were first taken to, and then we studied in an institute. Then I went to Paris. So the first evening in Paris, it was already pretty late in the evening, and we went to our rooms in the hotel, and we went off to bed. Next morning was 14th July, which is their national day. So on 14th July, every official building is closed, like a museum or any public monument. The museum particularly is closed. But I don't know why, what miscommunication occurred between us friends. I was supposed to meet my friends just near the lobby of the hotel, and when I reached down, there was nobody, and I was on my own, alone, and my friends had already left. Now I had two options: either I explore the city on my own because I'm there, or I go back to my hotel and wait for somebody to come back, right? But I decided to, I told myself, I'm here in Paris to learn and explore and visit. I'm not here to sit in a hotel room. And I knew how to use a map. I had a metro map with me. I had the ticket with me. And I spoke the language, my biggest confidence. So I decided to start walking. And I just walked the streets of Paris. I took the metro. I was on my own, and I had that digital camera that we had. And I kept taking photographs. And I stopped passerbys and said, "Will you take my photo?" And I had a nice, huge collection of photographs. And somewhere I kept asking passerbys in French these questions. And my confidence in my own speaking abilities continued to increase. And I ended up reaching a place which we call Les Invalides in Paris. So I ended up seeing over there was this huge display of their army and military tanks and fighter planes and all of that. So it was a national day, quite like what we have. We have a parade on at Janpat on our Republic Day. Something similar, you could say, they have it. So everybody was there and it was on display in the gardens over there. Now, when I looked over there and I saw, wow, this is an experience of a lifetime. So there was this jaguar over there, and they are now no longer in use. And there was a queue over there waiting to climb into the cockpit and take a photograph. I have no idea about flying, no idea about jaguar, but I speak French. I went into that queue. I stood over there, and then I went inside the cockpit. I sat inside. I asked the person behind me to take a photograph. And I have this memory of having taken one photograph, a memory which will stay for life. And the only reason why I ended up doing all this was because I spoke the language and I decided to just explore the city. And every time I was walking, I was asked, and I asked questions. It was always in French, and it was always to passerbys. I did not really interact with tourists, but with French people. And that is my first memory of Paris. Then, of course, the second time, the third time, and the first time that I went and stood at the feet of the Eiffel Tower, I just looked up like that and I said, "Oh my God, it's like amazing." It is very beautiful, no doubt. And we were very fortunate enough because the year that we were in Paris, Paris was also the president of, for 6 months, they are the president of the European Union. So they had the European Union flag, blue with golden stars on the Eiffel Tower. So the lights were all in that form. So this was a very unique experience that we had, fireworks and stuff. So my first visit of Paris was full of just awe and their buildings and monuments. By the time I went the second time and the third time, I had started getting used to it, and there was now. So of course, the joy that I feel is the language, not as much as the monuments and the city and all. It's the language that I love to speak in and meet and explore. And after that, of course, I've traveled to other cities and other countries as well. When I traveled to Canada for Toastmasters International, I ended up speaking French again with some delegates who had come. And I was serving as, I opted for the Helping Hands program, so I was at the registration desk. Now imagine international convention, 4,000, 5,000 people come, and I was at the registration desk helping with people getting those kits that we give everybody. Whenever I saw a name and I saw, French, okay, I'll talk to this fellow in French. when he came at the counter and I would start off with my French, I practiced my French even in Canada. I practiced my French when I'd gone to Belgium also. I've attended international teachers conferences as well. So yes, I have traveled a lot, and French has given me that that aspect of traveling, and that bug for traveling began originally with French.
Wonderful. That first visit of yours in France, in Paris, reminded me of Queen movie, but a different perspective. Kangana Ranaut, but through a different lens. But that Toastmaster Mayuri exploring everything. Queen movie with a different perspective, you can say. Yeah. So yes, I have also visited your house, and I have seen that you have a love for collection of small things from your childhood till now. Little things you have. You call your your house a museum.
I didn't call it. I didn't call it. It was, this name was given by Toastmaster Shrikar. The first time he came, he said, "Mayuri, your house is like a museum." Then he says, "You should put an entry ticket at your house." I said, "Really?" Yeah. So they pull my leg all the time.
Interesting. Yeah. It's very interesting, and it's very beautiful to look at those cute little things what you play, which we used to play when we as a child. Yes. And till now, wherever you travel, you get something from there. So can you share a story about where did it all started? Like, how did you thought that I have to just decorate this piece over here, this will look good over here? I mean, how?
Even before I went to France, I had gone to the US. My first international travel was to US. I did not buy anything at that time. No keyring, no magnet, no pen, nothing. Just photographs, of course, and memories. And then when I went to Paris and I started picking up a pen, a keyring, some memory of every place that I visited. Then I remembered I did not pick anything from US. How can I do that? So I told my students, all those who travel, I said, you go to New York, get me a keyring from there. I'm visiting New York, so that I have a memory of that city, of where I have been. So over the years, it just started somewhere. A very typical tourist Gunjan. I collect magnets, I collect keyrings like everybody else, but I've kept on to them, held on to them now for almost for 12, 13 years now. And I also pick up pen or a pencil from every place I go. Probably that's the teacher in me. And I have very beautiful pens and pencils, and I don't give them to anybody, my own nieces, students, anybody. It's absolutely no, they're for decoration. And I also pick up stuff when I know that I'm not going to get it back in my country. I know I'm not going to get it back in my city. Then I don't hesitate. I just buy it, and it's never too big in size. It's always a small item or a souvenir that I buy because I know I can carry it back easily. So I pick a lot of stuff. So I have an ostrich egg. I have there's a lot of stuff. You'll have to come to my house again to have a nice look at that.
Yes, surely. I have seen quite a few things, and surely I would love to visit once again.
Anytime, you're welcome.
Okay, so we all know Toastmaster Mayuri as DTM Mayuri. We all know as a French teacher. But how is Mayuri when she is with family, with her siblings? How are you? As in, there are some siblings, there are every kind of sibling. There are some ones who are very quiet when they are with family and friends. There are some who are the light of the room when they are with their friends and family. That room just cheers up when he or she is present. So, how are you when you are with your friends, with your family, with your siblings? How is Mayuri?
I am, well, with friends, I'm pretty much the same because I'm very talkative and full of energy and passion all the time. But when I'm with my family, trust me, I'm the one who's running around doing mostly all the chores, all the errands. And I have a very interesting incident to share. Another colleague of mine from French Institute, we had gone for a training and we were staying with homestays. So we were staying with a lady who offered homestay. So both of us were there and we were talking to the family and the lady. So that lady came to know that I know how to make Sindhi food as well. And she said, do you know how to make dal pakwan? So I said, yeah. And would you like me? I said, would you like me to make it for you tomorrow morning in the kitchen? So she said, yeah, but what do you need for that? I told her what we need as ingredients. And the next morning, early morning in the kitchen, we were actually supposed to go for the training at 10 a.m. But I got up earlier in the morning and I went into the kitchen and very nicely I guided the lady and I made the dal pakwan over there, right? Now my colleague, my French colleague, she actually was just waiting to watch all of this. She said, my dear ma'am, I've always seen you only in the classroom teaching, teaching, teaching. Now watching you work in a kitchen and make some food is something that I've been longing for so long. And finally her wish was granted and I made food that day. So I do cook, although I'm not at all passionate about cooking at all, but I can cook only when I really have to. But of course, with family, it's always there. I mean, with family, I'm always lots of stuff happening together. I'm typically still a baby for my parents. I remember my mother, actually, if I'm making the batter for dosa or idli, Mama is going to stand next to her and see me, use the mixer. And I tell her, Mama, I'm 50. I can make batter. She'd watch me make that because I'm always the child for them. And this is such a beautiful phase when I can always be a child despite being almost 50 now. And I cherish these moments that I get to spend with my family, with my parents, with my sister.
Wonderful. Okay, with that now,
yes,
I would like to move towards the rapid fire round.
Okay.
Now, as you know, that there will be questions coming up one by one, and you have to be quick with your answer. The first thing which pops up in your head, you have to just say without even thinking twice.
Oh dear.
Okay, there are simple questions.
All right.
The questions which would help us to know more about Mayuri ma'am.
Oh gosh.
Okay. So, oceans or mountains?
Mountains.
Pizza or gulab jamun?
Gulab jamun.
Okay. Gajar ka halwa or gulab jamun?
Gajar ka halwa.
Okay. Evening time or morning time?
Morning, any day.
Okay. Night out or day out?
Day out. I like to take my sleep.
Okay. Next. Bollywood or Hollywood?
Bollywood. All the masala, please. That's lovely.
English music Okay, we have three choices over here. In English music, Hindi music, or French music.
I'll go with Hindi, largely.
Okay, then Bollywood or ghazals?
Bollywood. Ghazals are a slow no for me.
Okay, indie pop culture or Western pop culture?
Then I'll say Western pop culture.
Sari or salwar suit?
Oof. Sari.
A bun or open hairs?
Straight, long, open hair any day.
And lastly, Coke or lassi?
Lassi.
Nice. It was a very nice rapid fire round, but we don't have any hamper to give it to you, ma'am.
Never mind. Whenever we meet, let's go and treat one another. That will be our hamper.
Yes, soon, very soon.
I hope so.
Actually, this lockdown came up. Would have actually planned something. It was so good to talk to you, ma'am. I hope you also had a good time.
I had a fantastic time chatting with you, something that we've not been able to do actually.
Actually. So yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you soon.